Good morning. I am sick now. A little bit of a cold, head cold. Yeah, I haven't really been doing a whole lot, but trying to rest my body since I got to the East Coast. I've had a bit longer of a flare-up than usual when I fly. And my allergies are bad, and I thought yesterday it was just my allergies, but maybe I was just getting sick the whole time. Also, like, the weather is so dry that my nose is just like, ugh, blood, and just, it's bad. I haven't been sick like this in a bit. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. Yeah, I haven't really been doing a whole lot other than played some D&D, and I've been hanging out with family, hanging out with animals on the farm, and yeah, that I haven't really, yeah, like I said, I haven't been doing much else. I haven't really been talking to Liz like normal. Yeah, that's my daily check-in. That's all I've got for you. I'm probably going to stream later on Twitch. And here's my link tree, which has my can I pin this? How do I pin it from here? I think I have to do it on YouTube. Man, this is confusing. So I don't know if any of you guys like saw all the evidence that dropped from 8 Passengers stuff in the Ruby Franke case. I have been watching her channel for a long time, ever since I found out about the abuses that she was showing in her videos, and they once they like stopped the 8 Passengers thing and she started doing this connection thing with Ruby or with Jody, I infiltrated their Facebook space just to see what was going on, and eventually someone hacked it, and Ruby and Jody were locked out of it. And that's when I kind of like stopped knowing what was really going on behind the scenes, and then all of a sudden we get the news that Ruby's son had escaped. So yeah, I've been on that train a little bit. Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, no problem. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi. So where is, I think I'm gonna pull up, okay, that's the police footage. Yeah, the police footage is crazy. I mean, not anything super crazy, but it was just weird on how oh, hi, Claim Your Destiny. Thanks for being here. I'm just showing a little bit of some of the body cam footage that we saw from the Ruby Franke case. Let's bring this up. Please let me know if this is like too loud or not loud enough. This is from Markie, M-A-R-K-I-E, his channel.
The questioning of Ruby and Jody, although they try not to say much, especially from Ruby's side. But then there's also a video of Kevin Franke, the dad, being questioned, and he says a lot more. Now, as well as the bodycam footage, there is also a lot more evidence that has been released that I'm not going to show in this video for very obvious reasons. And in fact, quite frankly, I regret seeing it completely. I was on Reddit trying to find information for this video, and amongst the information was the evidence in terms of the injuries, and they are so much worse than I could have ever imagined. Like, to the point that when we've read these articles talking about the injuries, they don't seem anywhere near as bad as what the photos say. And I was already of the opinion that Ruby and Jordie got an incredibly light sentence. It should have been longer.
Oh my gosh.
But now after that, it's so beyond light that it's incredibly frustrating. But yeah, I do just want to say to everyone watching this video, I realise people are curious, they want to see what's happening, they want to see all the information. I would highly recommend not looking at that type of stuff. It's so bad, and I can almost promise you that you will regret it. So genuinely, I would highly recommend being careful when you're looking up for information. A couple of pictures I will show, because it's not the kids, it's not the injuries, it's just stuff that was laid in the house that kind of puts this in perspective. As there is this picture of the tape that they were obviously using to cover the wounds. There was also this picture of all the food that was in the house, and the reason that I'm showing this is because the kids were incredibly malnourished, as we heard in the report. And the fact that they just had a house full of food, almost like taunting them when they're doing this, is made my blood boil so much. And yeah, I don't want to show any of the ones. I don't even want to see them again, quite frankly. But let's actually go on to the police body cam footage. Now, I do just want to say I got this footage personally from Law and Crime Network and KUTV. The footage has been made public for people to see, but these are the channels that I'm watching it from. Okay, so first of all, we have footage of Ruby Franke actually getting arrested, and you'll see in these clips, she refuses to say anything until she has a lawyer there, which is what most people do anyways, but she genuinely just doesn't say anything in these clips.
Place your hands behind your back for me. Perfect. And then, right now, I can put a finger in each of these, okay?
Yeah, so this is kind of what the whole footage is. I'm obviously not going to play it all because she doesn't say much, but I will say she doesn't look exactly shocked that any of this is happening in any of these clips. And one person who definitely wasn't surprised to see police pulling up at their door was Jordie Hildbrand, because she was prepared for it. She was literally on the phone to her attorney before they even knocked on the door. So obviously she was made aware of this beforehand. She must have knew that Ruby got arrested. I don't think I've seen that before.
I don't know if that's what she thought she needed to do, or...
When you step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not gonna step out of
Step
the
out of the
house.
house. Step out of the house.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
We're just gonna stand here. We're gonna be on phone.
Wait a minute, how do you come to my house?
Right there.
They come
I
over
was
to my
stuck there
house.
crying, Jody.
Just have a seat right there.
Do you have a
Because you don't want people
Yeah, I mean,
to
look,
know what
obviously
you're
if a
really
person was
doing.
innocent and the police just rocked up into their house, they would also be annoyed. But let's be honest here, the reason why she is panicking so much and she's so worried here is because there is so much evidence in the house and she knows exactly what she's done. The video then carries on, like, searching the house. She's saying, like, do you have a search warrant over and over again? She's on the phone to her attorney right now. And then we move on to them actually getting questioned. Again, Ruby refuses to say anything.
We also have snacks if you need anything to eat. So I know I introduced myself to you earlier, but my name is Detective Bates, and this is Sergeant Tolbert. We're just here to talk to you about kind of a few things involving your kids. So first, do you live down here, or?
I apologize for...
Yeah, so that is basically what the full video is. She refuses to say anything. On the other hand, Jordie does say a little bit more. She keeps saying that she wants her attorney, and she also says that she understands this situation and where the police are coming from because she's a psychologist.
No, and I'd love to tell you if you were here, because I don't know, I don't know what's gonna happen with what I say. You know, I'm a psychologist. I've watched people flip things all the time. So
They're probably not flipping things, Jody.
I sit on your
You're
side.
making me think that.
Get it? I wish people didn't do that, but they do.
I mean, if there's anyone here who tries to flip things all the time, it's
really
definitely Jordie
can't stand
Hildbrand.
this
She has
woman.
tried brainwashing so many people at this point that the number of the people isn't even known. There's so many. And in fact, one big part of this footage that I found incredibly ironic is that when Jordie Hildbrand has been put in the back of a police car and she's got handcuffs on, she complains about the discomfort.
I think she complained about the discomfort because she had like surgery or something on her shoulder, but whatever.
On the right side of my shoulders.
Okay.
Instantly complaining because she's got some injuries and whatnot, which, again, when you put in perspective of what she's done to the children, it's mental that she even feels like she has the right to complain about anything at this point. But yeah, there's loads of bits of, like, body cam footage of, like, them
Rub
trying
some
to
cayenne
question
pepper
Jordie
on
and
it.
Ruby, also of the arrests and whatnot, but they don't say much. I'm not going to show them in this video, but they're out there. They're on Law and Crime Network, and they're also on KUTV. Right, so I'm recording this bit after I filmed what you've just watched and what is going to carry on after this clip, but I have just came across the audio of the conversation between Ruby and Kevin Franke after this happened, apparently the first conversation they had on the phone, and I needed to include this in the video for a couple of reasons. First of all, obviously I mentioned before that Ruby didn't say much to the police, which is true, but she says a lot in this, and
Yeah.
It's frustrating, to say the least. So
Yeah,
the call
it's so
starts off with them first
frustrating to
talking
hear
about
this
money,
call.
which sounds a bit bizarre, especially when you bear in mind the circumstances they're in right now, the fact that their first
Also,
thought would be
fuck.
money. But then Kevin
I'm
does go on to
sorry,
say that he's seen a
fuck
news article about what's been
religion.
happening
It
here, and he
fucks
says
with
that it's
people's
broke his
brains.
heart, to which Ruby gets incredibly defensive.
I know
and
that,
seems
like,
she
some people are
like, blames
religious,
Sherry.
I know, but seriously, it does so much damage to people.
I just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you, and if I can ever be a resource, we are always here.
Are we in the news?
It sounds like that at least you're in the news. I don't know about me. I don't know what he's talking about. But
I'm wondering if they went to Sherry to, like, ask her questions.
What does that matter? I mean, you're in the news because you've been arrested. Like, obviously it's going to be in the news. But yeah, straight away she's like, oh, I wonder if they went to Sherry, because obviously Sherry had been speaking out for quite a while against Ruby, and she's obviously aware of this, and she's straight away being like, oh, I bet they went over to Sherry and she spoke to them. Like, maybe let's forget about who they spoke to and just think about your actions. That'd probably be a good start. Ruby then goes on to say that the devil's been after her for years.
The devil's been after me for years. And he's mad as heck, but
And then as you can hear by this awful noise here, they've cut something out of the call. I don't know what they mention here, but Kevin then goes on to say, like, you do realise this call's been recorded, right? Which makes me believe that maybe Ruby is talking about these horrific allegations that she made against her own children that we heard about, and it was, like, leaked to the public.
I have not said a word until I have an attorney.
okay, well, you know that this phone call is being recorded.
You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
Yes, that will come out. That will come out.
Yeah, so again, I'm not 100% sure what she said here, but that's my guess. Kevin then tells Ruby that the kids are going to be in hospital for 3 days, to which he says is unnecessary.
They're going to be in the hospital for 3 days.
So weird. It's just not necessary.
And trust me,
What the
because I've
fuck?
unfortunately seen the injuries.
The
It's 100%
injuries are
necessary.
down
It
to
should have
the
been necessary a
bone.
long time ago, judging by that. And the fact that she can sit here and be
Trigger
like, oh,
warning,
it's just not
the
necessary.
injuries were
I
down
don't know
to
what
the
goes on in her brain.
bone.
I don't get how she can come to that thought
But
process
it's
at
not
all.
necessary
Ruby
to
then goes
be
on
in
to
the
talk about some
hospital
book
for
that she
3
was reading,
days.
makes like a joke about it,
Fucking
starts laughing about
bitch.
it, and just talking about what the messages behind the book, says that she's prepared for this, and yeah, just a load of
These
waffle,
kinds
really.
of punishments are baked into some religious
And
policies.
you know what?
They were baked into the religious policies that I grew up
Adults have
with.
a really hard time understanding that children.
They're
can be
definitely
full of
baked
evil
into
and what
evangelical
that
Mormonism.
behind it.
Literally just
All these
blaming the
cult-like
children.
ones.
I don't even have words to describe this, genuinely. But yeah, the call then ends with Kevin saying that he's going to fight for the custody of the children, and yeah, I just felt like this was important to show in the video and to show what Ruby's actual thoughts were, since she wasn't talking to the police. She blamed the children instantly.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, it's
But
the
one person who
children's
did say a lot
fault.
more was Kevin Franke, and in fact there's a 45-minute video of him getting questioned about the incident. Now, to put into context as to what's
like it's the
happened
children's
before
fault
this
when they
interrogation
get,
from
you
Kevin's
know,
side,
essayed
from the
by
best of my
adults.
knowledge, it seems like he got a call from somebody that he doesn't want to name throughout this interview that he needed to head to the police station instantly to come and pick up his kids. And according to him, before this interview, that's all he knew. So now I'm going to go through some of the key points. If you do want to see the full video, it's on the Law and Crime Network YouTube channel. But Kevin does start off by saying that he hasn't seen any of the kids in over a year.
Are they all living with you, or
No, I haven't.
I just really don't get
Any
this
of them?
dynamic.
No.
I don't understand
Which
it.
does
Like,
seem to
how
be the
could
truth
you
at this
just
point from
walk
the
away
information that
from
we've
everybody,
got. So I'm
including
not going to
your
go at him
kids?
for lying. But how have you put yourself in a situation? Like, what dad is just going to decide to stop seeing his kids completely and not see them for over a year? There's
Mine.
no legal situation that was stopping him seeing the kids. He just
My
said that
dad
he came to
just
like a verbal
full-on
agreement with
stopped
Ruby
seeing
that he
me.
would no longer see them.
Because he didn't think he was a good role model. He didn't want to stop drinking.
No separation, Chandler, that we agreed to.
so what was your separation?
Excuse me.
Did you have a no contact order in place?
Order? No, this was between my wife and
So yeah, like I said, there was no legal reasons why he couldn't see them. He just agreed with Ruby that he wouldn't see them, and he just didn't. He then goes on to explain the separation between him and Ruby slightly. He goes into more information as the video goes on, but he originally just says that they separated and he was almost to blame. It's because of his actions.
Let's see if I can
Did she
just
ask
put
you not
these
to contact
captions
the
on,
kids?
so it's easier.
Ruby.
Sorry, I didn't put
invited
captions
me
on
to
before.
leave the home
Mhm.
while I thought about the choices that I made in my life and the way that I've treated her.
Okay.
And we do hear what these reasons were later on in the video, which we will get to, but basically it's apparently because he had a pornography addiction, and that's why they separated, and that's why Ruby asked him to leave to work on himself. They then go on to ask Kevin how they disciplined his children, and he refuses to answer.
And during your marriage, how was disciplining your kids? How would you discipline your kids?
With abuse? And put it on camera for the world to see?
Okay.
Of course, you're
that's
not going to
fine.
He
answer
then
that
goes on to talk about the
question.
conversations he has had with Ruby since they separated.
His
Apparently only a few
family.
times in 2023.
And they're not the only ones like
They
this.
never spoke about the well-being of
Seriously,
children, which
this is
again,
not
is crazy.
an
Like, to not
outlying
see them is one
case.
thing, but to not ask about them, I don't understand it.
There's an
And
echo
this is
in
where
the
we get
audio.
into the
Sorry
topic
about
of
that.
connections and
It's probably because I don't have my
passengers, where Kevin says that
headset
he
on.
supports the idea of connections. In fact, he actually listens to the podcast every week.
I'm not aware of that, but I know that.
Hi, Carrie Ann.
they've
I'm
been
just,
in
I'm sick.
business for the
Now I'm
last
angry.
year filming
Who's they?
Ruby and Jody. They
Ruby and
film
Jody.
podcasts.
Here, hold on one second.
So every
Okay, how's this? This is probably going to be a lot better.
Which blows my
Sorry
mind
about
even
the
more, because he
echo.
literally says here he listens to the podcast, but then is very
But let me
adamant in
know
the
if
fact
you can
that
still
he
hear
doesn't
it,
believe that
okay?
Ruby and
Because I
Jody
just
would do
don't
anything like this. In fact,
know
he praises Jody
what the
Hildebrand throughout
levels of
this.
anything
But how can you
is.
possibly listen to Connections and not worry about what they're doing behind the scenes? Because it seems like every other person in the world who was aware of this worried about it massively. But he didn't,
Yeah.
the person who should probably
Yeah,
be worrying about the
exactly.
divorce.
And
What
do
the
you
fuck?
support them in that role and doing that and having?
do I support them in the business?
Yeah, like do you support them and think that what they're doing is a good thing, or
Yeah, I support their business efforts. I think it's a good thing.
are you involved with their business efforts?
You
or-
think it's a good thing, but they...
I mean, he was kind of involved at the beginning. He was in a lot of the videos
But
until like the
they-
separation, but I guess he
Oh,
wasn't like
God, I
part
just-
of the business in terms of
I can't
Ruby and Jordy,
even.
like actually producing the content. But yeah, I mean, he clearly says here that he supports the content, which again, mind blowing. Now at this point, he goes on to talk about Jodie specifically and says that she is a trustworthy person. I mean, yeah, let's just
Are
play
you
it.
fucking kidding me?
Honest.
I just can't with
I
these
know her to
religious
be honest
fuckers.
and a trustworthy individual.
Like, are we still talking about the same Jodie
'Cause this
here?
is more than
Because no
just
one else seems to hold that
child
opinion, and that was
abuse.
before
There's
we found out about this
religion
specific situation.
in
So I have no
this.
idea how he came to this conclusion. Now, at this point, Kevin gets asked about the backlash that 8 Passengers has received over the years, and he gives his opinions on it, which is basically just saying, oh, it's because of this one incident, which is obviously not true.
Newsweek magazine in 2020 on it, and or was it Newsweek? No, Business Insider, where we were interviewed, and we were pretty straightforward, and we talked about it, and we shared our piece in that. Basically, it boils down to he was.
It boils down to. So this is it, apparently.
Very cruel and
He was cruel.
mean
And
to
mean.
his siblings that he shared a room with, and so.
By the way, I'll just pause it here and say,
Okay,
in
but that's like typical kid behavior. To take away your kid's bedroom, place of sleeping, and then go and ship them off to military school. Like
the actual video, the original video,
just
they say the
can't.
reason why this punishment was made was because Chad played a prank on his brother and said that they were going to go to
a
Disneyland
stupid
when they
prank.
weren't. Now, of course, there might
Yet
be
they get
more
this
to
kind
it
of
than that. That's the
punishment.
reason they get
And
in the
they
video.
think
Ruby's
it's
in the video,
okay.
doesn't deny it. But even still, the punishment is obviously ridiculous.
We said you can sleep anywhere you want. Sleep on the couch, sleep on the pull-out bed, sleep on the floor for all we care, but you're not sleeping in that room with your brother. He chose to sleep on a beanbag. So 9 months later.
9 months later. I mean, he's trying to like play this off as if it's like not that big of a deal. He even says that it boils down to this, which obviously to anyone who's even watched any videos on 8 Passengers throughout the years, you would know that this is not the only situation. There are many. But yeah, what he's explaining
Especially
here is
with
that
the
Chad
whole
slept on a
food punishment
beanbag for
thing.
9 months was in here. I thought in the original video it said 7, maybe it was 9. But he slept
Making
on a
your
beanbag for 9 months
preschooler
because
go
he
hungry because it's
was
her
mean,
responsibility to make her
which
own
of course I
lunch.
shouldn't have to tell anyone is absolutely ridiculous. But to try and sit here and say that this is the only reason why people are upset is mind-blowing again,
Yeah.
because there are videos out there of Ruby where she's been contacted by the teachers to say one of her children, who's 6 years old, doesn't have food at school, and she refuses to take food for her daughter because it was her responsibility as a 6-year-old. So she just lets her daughter go hungry at school because she didn't pack her own lunch.
Yeah,
And
I
look,
would
if I was
be
going to sit
eating
here
that
and talk
kid
about every single
myself.
thing that
I'm
they've done, I
sorry,
would
but
be
I
here
would be
forever
that
because I've
kid.
made so many videos talking
I
about
do
it all.
not
There is a
care.
ridiculous amount of things. For him to try and sit here and boil it down
As
to
a
just one
preschool
incident
teacher,
is
I
stupid. He then goes on
get so heated on these things, and I try to keep a level head because it's the work that I'm doing, and it's really important for me to try and keep a level head going into these cases, or going, if I have, I had a kid once where we had the parents having such a nasty divorce that we were scared that the dad would actually come and take the child from the school, and so we had to have like a talk about that. I just would never let a kid go hungry. That's just it. Whew.
talk about connections even further, says that Ruby and Geordie decided to create this business, which is a bit weird to me because I'm pretty sure Ruby said when she was in court that she wasn't a part of the business, she was just like a client to Geordie Hildebrand. But when you hear Kevin explain
but
it
she was
over and
like
over again in this video, it definitely
half
doesn't
running
sound
it
like
with
that.
her.
Well, they decided to start a business in 2021.
Which, yeah, definitely goes against what Ruby said. He then talks further about the YouTube stuff, says they lost 90% of their income when they stopped doing their 8 Passengers channel. He then goes on to explain the reasons for
And
separation
separately,
again. He says
Jody
it
has
was
been
because he
doing
had
this
this,
to
pornography
families
problem. He then
paid
also
by
says
the
that
Mormon
Jody told him
Church.
that he needed to get help, to which he
Paid
says that
by
he
the
agreed.
Mormon Church
A
to
close
basically destroy
relationship,
families' lives and abuse children,
Jody
abuse her own
saw
family.
the need for me to get help, and frankly, I agree. The space has been exactly what I need to face, my own.
So yeah, I don't know how much Jodie was responsible for the fact that they ended up separating. I don't know what she told Ruby. I can take a guess and say that she probably did tell Ruby a lot of things
Yeah,
to do.
and it
with the
has something to
situation,
do
just
with
because she did it
porn.
to so many
Like,
other
this is
people.
another thing
And now it's
about
at
a
this
lot
point
of
they finally tell
these,
Kevin the reason why he's
with a lot of these religions, they're like obsessed with purity and like masturbation and porn, and like it's a huge problem if you masturbate or watch porn or anything. And they were telling Kevin Franke that he had a porn addiction. Don't know if that's absolutely true, but it's kind of baked into a lot of the Mormon laws. And they were even like saying this stuff about the kids. Like, Ruby said that her kid was having had a porn addiction since 6 years old. I'm sorry. Well, then why is your 6-year-old like getting a hold of porn? Like, what are you doing? If that is absolutely true. Like, what the fuck? I can't with these people.
here and talk about the injuries. I'm not going to play them actually explaining the stuff because it's very
Yeah.
graphic, but what I will
The
show
injuries
is
are
Kevin's
extremely
reaction.
trigger warning. I've seen
That's my job.
everything
My
by
job is to find
now.
out your knowledge of the treatment of these
Yeah.
Based on your
precious
description,
children.
no. But again, I don't know the details, or I don't know what's going on, but as you described that sounds horrible.
Disgusting. No human being should be treated like that.
Nope. Especially a kid.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. But again, we might be different on that.
And look, I'm no body language expert,
They
but
said
I
they
would be
could
very
smell
interested to see someone who is cover the
dead,
situation and talk about his reaction.
infected
Because
flesh
it does seem a
on
bit
the
odd to me,
kid.
but then also if he wasn't aware of any of this and he was just told this information, I don't know how you're really supposed to act because it is a lot of horrible information to receive just instantly. They then leave Kevin in the room by himself for a few minutes. This is when he actually starts to show
Yeah, I
emotion,
don't have
has
much
his,
sympathy
head in his
for
hands, seems to
the
start crying
husband
as
in this
well.
either.
He starts talking about how he just tries every day to provide for the family because he still pays all the bills, and he has a
He's
picture
an
of them
enabler.
in like his house and stuff, so he sees the picture every single day. And then he says that this situation just sounds completely made up.
Everything you're sharing to me just sounds like a made-up story. Like I have no idea what you're talking about.
And yeah, look, he might have not known the extent of everything that was happening because even we didn't know the extent of it. Everyone else was still shocked when this information came out, even all the people who have been covering 8 Passengers for so long were shocked when we saw the extent of everything that's been happening. So he might not have been aware of it, but he had more than enough reasons to be worried, because everyone
Yeah,
was.
down
And
with
now toward
family
the end of the video,
channels.
he's still saying similar
No
stuff, saying
more
that he
family
doesn't
channels.
believe any of this.
I
He starts like
understand. Please take
reciting the
care of
keywords and
yourself. It
connections,
is
it
really
sounds
hard
like, and
to
then says that
listen
this feels like a
to.
sucker punch.
For all intents and purposes, I woke up this morning looking at the picture of my family and making my commitment today, as I do every day, that I'm going to live an honest, a virtuous, and a responsible life today. And what you're sharing with me just feels like a sucker punch.
And yeah, this is pretty much where the video ends. They say Kevin
Yeah, I'm
is
gonna
free to
change
leave
my
and drive home.
title really
The
quick
children are
just
obviously
to
still in the
say
hospital at this
that
point, so
there
he's
is a
not able to
trigger
see them.
warning.
And yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the stuff we're seeing is so beyond shocking. And it shouldn't be shocking in the sense of when we look at it, we're like, whoa, this is way worse than I thought, because we've already heard horrible information, so you kind of sat there thinking, surely it can't get worse. And then it just does. And like I also said at the beginning of the video, I feel like the sentence that Ruby and Jodie got was so incredibly light, like beyond light. But yeah, that is just some of the evidence that has been released today or yesterday as you're watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on the videos
Yeah,
that you watch.
that is just a little bit of the police footage from the interview, at least from just that. The evidence is excruciating to go through. Watching them try and convince little E to come out of a closet and eat food was just, that was devastating. She did not trust anybody. She thought she was going to hell. She was going to get punished for eating food. Oh my God, it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. I cannot stand when people harm children, and especially when it's done via religion. Yeah, I'm sick. Wanted to go through a little bit of that. Now I'm gonna go lay back down. Oh man, you can see how red my nose is. Oh. Sorry about the echo in the beginning. I'm still working things out with StreamYard. I might try and do OBS one day just to see how the OBS works through YouTube and if I can control things a little bit easier. But yeah, thank you for stopping in. If you stopped in on the live, thank you for replay crew. I'm probably going to go through some more of the Franke case evidence, and I know it will be hard for people to hear, but I'm going to go through some more of it and have some talks with people, hopefully, about basically about how religion has a lot of these policies of punishments to children like baked into their policies. And yeah, if you want to know about the book that was given out in my religion, it's called How to Train Up a Child. I'm probably going to try and find the archive of that. Hold on one second. Archive, How to Train Up a Child. This way you don't have to, like, if you're curious, you can read it without buying it. It's written by Michael and Debbie Pearl, the good old Pearl family. So there is the web archive to training up a child if you're curious about what some people and some kids like me had done to them. Mine wasn't as abusive as a lot of the stories that I hear, but I still had religious abuse and other abuses happen to me. Yeah, so have a good day. I'm not playing any Sims, but I'm going to say dag dag anyway. So dag dag, everybody, and I'll see you again maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. Okay, peace out, y'all.